Hi everyone, today I'm going to teach you 3 ways to make tones in Clip Studio Paint X, as well as show you how to overlay multiple layers of tones and a few other extra tricks here and there. Let's get started. As you can see, we have our line art, and the first thing we're going to do is add a new layer. For this first method, you'll want to set the expression color of the layer to gray, and after you've done that, you can use your brush to paint in gray tones anywhere you want. Once you've finished painting in your tones, you'll want to go to the layer property window and click this checkerboard patterned button here, and this will immediately convert everything into screen tones. Super easy. And if you want to add screen tones of a lighter or darker color, all you have to do is change the color of your brush and paint them in. If you'd like, you can also play around with the screen tone settings again here in the layer property window. You can change everything from the frequency of the screen tones, the angle they're drawn in, as well as the shapes of each individual dot. You can even turn the screen tones into parallel lines a little bit like this, and this can have all sorts of applications depending on what you're trying to do. Another option with this method is that you can use many different kinds of brushes to apply the tones. For example here, I can use a watercolor brush to paint in the tones, and it will give it a very nice watercolory texture. So that was one easy way to add screen tones to your manga pages in Clip Studio Paint X, but there are also other methods to do this. For this one, you'll want to go to the Assets window and go to Monochromatic Patterns and to Basic. And here you'll find all sorts of screen tones. With this method, all you'll have to do is get the lasso tool, select the area you want to put the screen tones in, and drag in any screen tone that you'd like. With this method, Clip Studio Paint will create a new layer for every selection of screen tones that you place down. So for those that like to have their screen tones separated into many different layers for organizational purposes, this might be nice for you. Now, for the third method, this one is pretty similar to the second method in that we start with the lasso tool. However, after making your selection, you'll find that a default menu pops up over here. Click this checkerboard pattern here and you'll be able to add any sort of screen tone you'd like as shown here in the dialog box. Similarly, with the layer property window in the first method, here you can change everything from the frequency of the screen tones to the shapes and to the different types. Well, now that we've taught you the basics of adding screen tones, here's a little tip on overlaying tones. So, let's say we're using the second or third method we introduced for adding screen tones. You have one layer of screen tones, but now you want to add a second darker layer right on top of it. If you do the same thing as you did previously, you'll find that from afar it does look like it's darkened the area, but when you zoom up closely, you'll find that the screen tones have actually perfectly overlapped and don't actually cause any darkening at all. In order to change this, we want to use a special tool called the Move Layer tool in order to move the screen tones to overlap with each other properly. You'll want to go to this tool here with the arrows. This is the Move Layer tool, and from here you have two options in terms of moving the tones. You can just simply go to the Move Layer tool and change this property here that will make it move the screen tones. Otherwise, there's also usually a default tool called Move Tone Pattern, and this should work pretty much the same. After that, all you have to do is go back to the layer that you want to move and click and drag. This way, the screen tones are properly offset and darken the image. And if we're going to be using method 1 instead, this is much simpler. All you have to do is go back to the screen tone layer and draw over a darker color to basically darken the screen tones. If you zoom in closer, you can see that painting darker colors over the same layer actually enlarges the size of each screen tone dot, and from afar, that's what gives it the darkening effect. Both of these methods have slightly different visual effects, so which one you choose to do will depend entirely on what you want to achieve with your own manga. So those were our basic tips on how to do tones in Clip Studio Paint X. We hope you enjoyed the video. Let us know what you think, and happy drawing!